Hello and welcome to Anime with Asteroidia, me, and a skull, which we do not talk about. Today we are watching. So, title for this show, right? If you're watching the video, you know what the title of the show is because it'll be it's the title of the video, right? However, this title keeps making me laugh. For a very specific reason. I think this title is fine in Japanese. This title is fine when you say it in English with an American accent. It's probably also mostly fine when you say it in English with an English accent. When you say it in English, or even in the original Japanese, with a Scottish accent, it sounds like you're saying something else, which is why I've been consistently internally thinking of this show as the Ars Beasts show since I saw it was announced, because ARS, Ars, it just sounds like in a Scottish accent, it just sounds like what we would say instead when an American would mean ass. So Ars, Giant Beasts of Ars. That's what the show is called. Ars no Kyojuu. Sorry, got to get my pronunciation right. It's super childish of me, but like ever since I've seen this show, the name of this show out for this season, I've just looked at it and gone, oh, Arse Beasts. Yeah, okay. We you just have to be prepared for me to laugh every time that the name of the show comes up. It's going to happen. It has happened so far ever since I saw the name, and it will continue happening as long as we're reacting to this. So I'm sorry in advance for anyone who doesn't find this as funny as I do, but I can't help it. Anyway, so this show, Giant Beasts of Ars. Okay, I'm serious anime reaction. Okay. We're just going to call it Giant Beasts, okay? Giant Beasts. I really don't know anything about this actually, other than the name. I'm not sure what I've got this impression from. I've got a kind of Attack on Titan impression from it. Maybe just the Giant Beast thing. The idea that there is some sort of, humanity has been reduced to some kind of smaller, some sort of post-apocalyptic thing in with the giant monsters. I don't think it's just from the name. I think I have seen something at some point that has suggested an Attack on Titan comparison to me. That could be totally off the mark, so I don't know where I got that, but I feel like I did get that from somewhere. There is a show that this is now reminding me of. I don't know. There was a show that had like monsters and people fighting monsters from like airships. It had like there was sort of like a whaling thing. It was on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it because I didn't watch all of it. It wasn't. I don't think it was that great. I wonder if there are airships in this. I've got a. I don't know if something about this is just connecting it to that Netflix anime, which is confusing me. But I feel like we might have airships. I would like I like an airship. Yeah, I hope we get airships. But yeah, mostly I'm just stringing out this. I'm kind of stringing out the pre-episode thing because I actually really don't know anything other than making the obvious joke about the name. Yeah, so I think that's just going to be it. We're going to go into the episode and see what we get. I mean, aside from this, I know it's a fantasy show that isn't an isekai, so that's always fun. I do like a good I like isekai as well, but isekai get kind of lazy with the world building because they've got that point of view character and they just use that as the in to explain everything, and also the video gamey stuff, which I'm honestly getting kind of sick of in modern isekai, like just relying on the kind of trapped in a video game tropes without actually having them trapped, like it's not explicitly a video game setting, but everything works off menus and stuff. That's getting kind of old for me personally, but it's nice to have a fantasy story that almost certainly won't rely on that. But yeah, I said without further ado, we're going to go into the episode and still found something to ramble on about for a while. So let's actually go into this. So this will be, as always, timer-based reaction. So you need your own copy of the episode. I will do a 3, 2, 1 countdown. I will have a little sliver of the episode with the subtitles on the bottom to help with the sync, and there will be a timer if you need to resync at any point. I have noticed in one of my earlier videos, I think the Handyman Saito one actually, which was really annoying. I managed to miss. I did something weird in the edit and threw off the timing slightly, so I'm going to be very careful not to do that this time. But we're going to do our 3, 2, 1, then start. So on your marks, and we will go 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, we got manta rays, flying manta rays, I assume. A red horse, okay. The Legend of Ars, eh? I'm going to stop. I promise. I like the character designs. Okay, so it looks kind of medieval, but we've got an almost slightly steampunk thing with all this riveted metal. That's interesting. Big old ballista. And the uniforms feel a little bit kind of World War II as well. Like a kind of fusion of medieval and World War II. And he's got like a curved... Is that katana or... Yeah, so he's got a katana, but... And the horse is red. These character designs look super familiar. Oh. Oh, okay. So are they like a kind of pair and they have some kind of fusion thing? Ice bears? No, just... Or possibly turned into stone. Oh, that was cool. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's ice powers. So was she like providing the magical power for that? Because it was a little unclear on exactly what happened there, but it looked like they kind of fused to form his battle form. Straight into the OP. That is a spaceship. Okay. I guess we're getting airships. I think maybe I did see that somewhere because that I mean, as much as that does look like a spaceship, I think it's maybe got more of a sort of Final Fantasy retro modern airship thing. I like this OP. Maybe this is very post-apocalyptic as well, and we've got like remnants of a futuristic society, and then everything's regressed into sort of more medieval fantasy thing. Oh, I was going to say before the OP came on, the character designs seem really familiar. I'm starting to wonder, is this the same studio that did Rage of Bahamut, the one that was based on like a gacha game or a card game or something, but was actually really good for some reason. There was a sequel series that wasn't as good, but the first series of that, Rage of Bahamut, Virgin Soul, I think it was subtitled, was amazing. It was really good, amazing animation and stuff. I'm not necessarily recognizing the animation, but maybe it's got the same character designer because there was something quite distinct about the faces in that. Especially the female characters. 30 years later. Oh, okay. Time skip. This is already interesting, though. This is kind of hooking me. I like it. A sort of... oh, okay. He's fine. Probably. Did that guy have a rocket launcher? And we've got gas lamps. Oh, it's like a rifle, maybe. Hmm. Oh, so she's escaping. Did she like kick that door out? We've got searchlights. Oh, this is such a weird mishmash of time periods. That is great. Yeah. Okay, so she has the hungry character trait. This has got to be the people who did Rage of Bahamut, because that was a big thing in that show as well. As well as having like quite disparate character designs in the same show. That reminds me, if it's not, I still feel quite validated by the similarity. I think there are parallels, but something about the specificity of this does remind me a lot of that show. She's going to jump off the. Yep. Okay, dramatic escape. Although it kind of felt like they weren't, there was maybe protection aspect in that they were keeping her there for her own good in some sense. So I'm guessing she is one of the power-up people that we saw in the introduction. So is this maybe our pair where he'll get power from her? She certainly seems to be like, well, she kicked the door off the hinges and seems to be superhumanly agile as well. He did not seem that surprised about that either, which is interesting. And I assume he's going to cover for her. Oh, no. Okay, okay. Except he pointed them in the wrong direction. So who are you? Other than an alcoholic. He doesn't seem to have any love for whatever the authority is that was keeping her in prison. Gotta be more careful. It's kind of old school East Asian money where it's got the hole in the middle and then you keep it on a string. I think that was that was definitely a Japanese thing, but also a Chinese thing, I think. Just interesting given the rest of it has mostly a Western aesthetic. Interesting choice. Choosing to take her in, yeah. Yeah, good thing too. Yeah, some of these guys have guns and some of them have like longbows. That I'm very, very curious as to what this world actually looks like and whether or not it is a post-apocalyptic thing that's regressed, because it's looking like that. Because these uniforms are very like late 19th, early 20th century. Oh god, right, okay. this guy looks kind of crazy. Are you gonna oh right, we got magic pills of some kind. Interesting. He's on some kind of drug. Explains the crazy eyes. Nice hat. Oh, okay, that's a very big wall. Again, the Attack on Titan comparison. That might be. I might have been right on that one. Like it's one of these fantasy universes where it has a load of things from our world, but they're just arbitrarily like the wrong color. So you've got like white apples, red bananas, red horses. I quite like that. You might say it's lazy, but okay. We saw her in the OP, and she's got a cat theme. Does she have the ears? Is she an actual cat girl, or? I'm not sure if she's an actual cat girl, but she does have a cat on her head. So, I mean, I guess that makes her a cat girl in a sense. We saw her in the OP, but like copies of her. I don't know if that was just a stylistic thing or if she's like some kind of clone thing. Is she wearing like a. Is that cat strapped to her head? It's kind of weird. Again, you are hungry. Yeah, there's our Attack on Titan comparison. And very JRPG, the giant monsters drop gemstone kind of cores. Yeah, we're farming them for materials. Yeah, we're going full Monster Hunter on this. Okay, we got beast people of various kinds. Cat me some slack. Oh, God. The Ars Savior. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, I think the other merchant down the street has a bridge to sell you. Oh, okay. So she is probably the chosen one then. Are you going to be able to? Now, see, that's technology. That's technology, right? You don't look too upset about that. I have a weird feeling you won't be able to take that off. But that looked high tech. That looked like future technology. So I think the weird inconsistencies in the tech. I think this is a post-apocalyptic world that's regressed from being like sci-fi. Are you famous? Oh, no, maybe not. I actually think that's quite a cool name, but maybe it doesn't sound as cool in Japanese. I need to stop laughing at that. Okay, we've got an evil pope. I like a good evil pope in a fantasy universe. It's a lot of crazy eyes in this first episode on various people. I like her character design. Can we actually see her full outfit? Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Character designs are really good so far. Oh, it's a big pig. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, that's weird. Huh. So what's the bet that these are some kind of artificially engineered construct that went out of control at some point? God damn, you guys are really going to go at this thing with like swords and spears and stuff. Can we not get some of those guns up, or are those too rare? What's his name? Jiro or something? The already dead. That guy seems kind of screwed, but okay. Yeah, there he goes. Nice. We got the wall run. I ended up getting a casual stroll up to grab that guy, but another bit of weirdly advanced looking technology. Some very explosive arrows. I'm not totally sure about the cuts here. There's some. Oh, wait, okay, so this is going to be somewhere relevant, I assume. Some of those fades are just weird. Like, why did we have that tiny cut of the ring there? Oh, so that was just it. Okay. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Guy likes his condiments. There's raw eggs. Nice that he is actually injured. And quite badly injured by the looks of things. I like the music. So yeah, so he is Jiro. Let's actually write down a character name or two. Why not? Jiro. So I'm guessing he's a paladin. Or a former paladin. Oh. So presumably we've got this empire and then... I don't think he's going to take no for an answer somehow. Oh no, he lost the hat. Oh. She'd been spotted. Shouldn't have lost the hat. The enigmatic cat merchant's kind of fun as well. I like her. I like all of the characters so far in this. Oh. That was interesting. I thought they were pretty intent on capturing her unharmed, but perhaps not. Oh, another beast. Oh. Whoa. Wow. That was cool. Wait, does he lives on a spaceship? Or the kind of sci-fi fantasy airship thing? Yep, okay. So flashback. His previous partner was killed in the line of duty, presumably. Are you going to get involved? Bereavement curse. That's interesting. Can think of a comparison for that. I'll bring it up later. Oh, here he comes. Oh, knocking them aside with a metal armbar, arm guards. That was cool. Okay, forging a new contract, bond, whatever this is. Oh, she's got a number. Clerics and paladins. And they're going to join together to stop the beast. Seems like you knew more about that than you were letting on, and that's it. This our ED. Think we'll get anything after that? Maybe. There's maybe just enough time for. Depends whether it's going to be an actual post credits or if it's just going to be a preview. If it's a preview, I wouldn't watch it. If it's post credits, I will. Nice chill DD. Okay, it doesn't look like we're going to change scenes. No, probably not. If we were going to do it, we would have done it there. Okay. Yeah, obviously I'm going to let that ED play in it. It's nice ED, nice chilled kind of wind down after that. But that was good. That was really good. I really liked that. I don't think it's going to unseat Trigun Stampede as my favourite first episode so far, but it's going to take a hell of a lot to unseat that one, so I don't think that's going to happen. But this was good. This was interesting. Interesting world building. Really interesting world building. I hope this is. Are we coming to the end? Let's hold that thought until we go past, and I can tell if this is going to be a preview or if it's going to be a post credits. I think it's probably going to be a preview, isn't it? What have we got? Yeah, okay. We've got a preview, so we'll stop it there. Yeah, that was cool world, really cool world. I hope that it's well thought through, because my thought is that this is one of two things, right, with the world building here. Either it's really well thought through, really intricate with the whole history that's been planned out as to why things have ended up in the kind of weird mishmash state that they are now. Or it's we threw whatever we had at the wall and just saw what stuck, and they haven't really thought it through, and it's just like a mishmash of random stuff they thought was cool, which that could work. You know, that would be fine if that's what it was, but it would be vastly more interesting if it's actually fully thought through and there's kind of a history there. But I I really think there is. I think there's a lot of deliberate stuff in the world building there that seems to have thought behind it. The mix of time periods is really cool because you can get that from the aesthetic right from the start. Mix of time periods, mix of culture. The armor is like all over the place because we had kind of like the guys manning. Well, the guys manning the ballista at the start. I'm going to try and put up some images of this actually as we go through. I'll just scroll through the episode here so we can have a look. And this seemed to work quite well with Trigun, so I'll assume it's going to work here. We'll see. So yeah, we've got where are our lads manning the ballistics? We've got all these soldiers here at the start. Yeah. Who are dressed in very interesting uniforms because we've got like, so the whole setup is like a medieval peasant levy manning a ballista. And it's like, okay, well that's a thing. They've got their bows, they've got their spears, but then the ballista is all like riveted iron, which feels sort of, it's like a medieval weapon rendered in a modern style. It's like, what if they were making giant ballistas in World War II? You know, it would probably look like that. It'd be this big riveted metal thing. And like the soldiers themselves, the helmets look kind of medieval, but the uniforms look sort of World War II or maybe a little bit before. I think I said before, like uniforms are like late 19th century, early 20th century. And these guys have like bows and short spears. Yeah, and there's like a sight on the ballista that looks very, like, it looks like the sight on like a World War II aircraft gun almost, although it doesn't have the center part. Yeah, so the uniforms on the operators, yeah, it's strange mix of things because we've got the boots with the folded over cuffs, so that's very medieval. But then the tunics and the grey with the red stripes, that's and the helmets and the goggles, that's kind of a sort of steampunk World War II thing. Yeah, cool. And then later on, I don't think there's any in this scene, which is 20 years before the start of the series, which I wonder if the guns are a recent development, because none of these guys have guns, but these same soldiers later on in the episode, some of them have guns, even though most of them seem to just have bows and spears. So, like, how does that happen? And then, like, a lot of it's very Western, but this guy has a katana. And then later on, Kumi 22, I'll just call her 22. It's like 02 again. 22, she brings out money and she's got the string of coins, which is very, that's a very Asian thing. And this guy has the katana. So we've got kind of Japanese influence there, but very Western influence from some of the other stuff. Like the city looked pretty Western. I don't think this is meant to be any kind of iteration of our world. I think this is like a separate fantasy place, but still, the way they're pulling in from different cultures, it might not be deliberate. It might again just be we thought these things were cool, so we went for them. But you know, there could be some kind of indication that this is a world that had some kind of globalization and there was a lot of mixing of cultures and things, and then something's happened, because I think this is post-apocalyptic. I am pretty certain this is some kind of post-apocalyptic world. And then we've got this this interaction at the start, which is mirrored at the end, just is very deliberate structurally, where we've got these two characters. We've got the partnership where the female character kind of empowers the male character in a way that's kind of it's a bit of a magical girl transformation almost to this, but yeah, so she takes on some kind of astral form and then energizes him, and then he gets the glowing hair thing and ice powers, I think, as well. Because I think 22's power later on seemed to be fire based, so I guess there's like an elemental factor to this. That's cool. I like that. That's got a lot of there's a lot of mileage in that concept, right? Yeah, and then he cuts it in half. We got row P, which has a lot of very interesting. I always overuse the word interesting. This thing's, but it is interesting because we got the big airship thing, which we saw Jiro living on later on. I assume it's some kind of airship, but very sci-fi looking. We've got that in the OP. Again, that has got to be a relic of some kind of. You would think of it as like a Hyperborean age, advanced ancient civilizations, some sort of Atlantean kind of thing, or maybe no. Actually, I don't think it's so much as that. It's not like there was a secret advanced civilization. I think it was like a globally advanced civilization that has then been destroyed by these monsters that have appeared since. Then we've got a 30-year time skip from that opening. So it's clearly set in the same place, but we don't see any of these characters again. And we've got our hungry girl. It's like, cool. That's going to be your character archetype. I like that character archetype. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like it's funny how random that is. That's just a thing that that's kind of a stock anime character thing. I actually really want to check this. I normally avoid looking up too much stuff when I'm doing these, but I really want to know because I want to know if I was right about who made this, because this seems really like Bahamut. Is this the same? Is this the same studio? I don't think it is. So Asahi Productions made this. Nope. I don't recognize any of these actually. They've been going for a while, but I haven't. Yeah, nothing that I really recognize here. Huh. Okay. Who made that? Yeah, Shingeki no Bahamut. Just, of course, with the Attack on Titan parallels we were seeing there is kind of funny, but yeah, because I was thinking of wait, Mappa made that, really? Huh. That was a Mappa show. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into Googling and Wikipediaing because it's just annoying to have to edit that out, and no one will see me just scroll through web pages for ages. But I will look up at some point between now and the next episode, because we are absolutely watching more of this. This is really good. I like this a lot. We will look up specifically the character designer, because I wonder if there's some shared staff there, even though I'm weirded out that was a Mappa show, actually, Shingeki no Bahamut. But because I could have sworn that was a smaller studio, but yeah, there's some weird similarities in some of the characters and some of the direction and stuff in this that I wonder if there's some shared staff. So I'll look that up and try and find that out I'll try and remember to find that out before the next episode. But no, I was wrong. I have not seen anything by the studio before. But yeah, so we had her escaping from her imprisonment. We had our guy who's down and out, our male protagonist. Then she escapes. She gets by on the goodwill of the townspeople. She seems very nice, very personable, but maybe without much of an identity of her own, because she did say at the end, she introduces herself, says she's just number 22, implying maybe. Well, it'd be very easy to see if this is kind of the paladin and cleric setup. That's what it was. If this is just a kind of standard thing in the world, you can see a universe in which the clerics would be very kind of commodified as like resources rather than individuals. So that tracks, depending on where they go exactly with that kind of tracks on on that. Actually, there is one last thing I'm going to look up that I meant to look up and I could have seen on that Wikipedia entry, but I want to just double check. Is this an anime original? Because I think it is. I don't think there's source material for this. Yeah, original. It's an anime original. Oh yeah, I love a good anime original. Because you're not going to get manga readers and light novel readers spoiling it for you, which is unfortunately happens quite a lot. I'm also not going to accidentally look up spoilers when I'm trying to do stuff like that, which is always good too. But yeah, depending on where they go with this, the commodification of the clerics would make a lot of sense. So maybe they are kind of trained or perhaps created in some way. Maybe they're artificial somehow. I don't know. The character at the start seemed fairly normal. The pair, and then but his previous partner, she had horns, I think. We'll get to that in a second because I want to talk about that too. We had the prince or the governor, I'm not sure what his title was exactly, seems to be kind of trying to orchestrate some kind of conflict with maybe another society, and he has crazy eyes. that's slightly terrifying. And he also seems to be taking some kind of drug, which comes in the form of these crystals. It looks like the same crystals that the cat merchant was saying they got out of the beasts. So like, presumably they are some kind of resource in and of themselves, some kind of source of magical power. But whatever they are, it seems like this guy, you can also take it as some kind of enhancement to your own power, or maybe it's like narcotic or something. I don't know. It's hard to say just from this one scene, but he does seem kind of strung out. So I'm guessing there are side effects of that. He's got some kind of spy master there in the back. And we've got the wall. Yeah. Big wall beside the city. That's yeah, so I still don't know where I got that from, but I did get that there was some kind of Attack on Titan parallel here, and yeah, I mean, it's right there. It's a big wall around a city to keep out giant monsters. Seems it's different though, because it's not quite the sort of horrifying existential threat, or at least it doesn't seem that way, that it is an Attack on Titan, because these beasts seem to be quite killable. Like that giant pig thing went down a lot easier than I thought it was going to. If it was a manga or a light novel adaptation, I'd maybe wonder if they cut that fight down. But of course, it's an original, so I guess maybe you just can kill these things with the what was explosive arrows they were using of some kind. Because I kind of thought that when the thing appeared and they were all running out with bows and spears and things, I was like, oh god, this is gonna be like an absolute slaughter. But no, they just killed it with these arrows. What did they have on them? They just had kind of packets on them. I wonder if they're. I wonder if that's another use of the crystals. Yeah, let's just see what exactly they're shooting there. Oh right, they're just like fused bombs on the end of arrows. Okay, fair enough. May or may not be magical, but anyway, we've skipped ahead a little bit because we've got this ring scene as well, where she encounters the cat merchant and the cat merchant's cat that she's got on her head, which is it's a cool character thing. I like that. Weird but cool. So she had the magic ring, the kind of destined item on the cat, and randomly ran into our female protagonist, which I think the implication with what the cat merchant was doing at the end, where she was looking on and kind of observing everything, is that she knows more than she's letting on. So we'll have to keep an eye on her going forward, because yeah, she seems kind of shifty. And then there's the whole sequence with the ring, which looks very tech. Like it's hard to say, because there's that Final Fantasy thing, like not so much like Final Fantasy 7 or 8, where you've got, it's explicitly there's a lot of modern day technology in that, even though people are still using swords. I'm thinking more like earlier Final Fantasies, or like Final Fantasy 12 or even 10, although 10 had the post-apocalyptic thing. No, maybe more 12. You can have that JRPG fantasy thing where there are just like weird anachronistic things and it's just part of that universe. It doesn't actually mean anything world building wise. So like the airship, I thought at the start, well, the airship could be that. It could just be like it's a JRPG style world and they have airships that look kind of high tech for reasons. They run on magic. It's fine. But something about this scene with the ring, this is what really convinced me on the post-apocalyptic sci-fi future tech world thing. Because something about this scene where the ring glows, expands, I'll edit the scene in, it goes onto her finger, and then there's like, yeah, there's like the light, but there's a kind of digital effect on the band of the ring. I see what you're doing there, sure, or at least I think I do. That seems like tech. That seems high tech. I'm gonna stake my reputation as an anime nerd on that, and I'm gonna say that's a tech thing. I think that's a tech thing, but we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. But I'm definitely angling very heavily on the post-apocalyptic thing here. We've got a short sequence with the in what I think is the Imperial capital or something. I wasn't totally clear on whether or not this was a different place. Yeah. Unfortunately, there is a subtitle that comes up for this in Japanese, which I assume is telling you where this is, but unfortunately, it's in my copy, it's not translated, so I don't know. I'm not entirely sure whether, because I think in both cases they talked about an empire as being their place, so I mean, it could be two empires, but oh, maybe this isn't a pope, maybe this is an emperor, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not totally clear on that, whether this is meant to be the opposing country or whether this is the emperor of the place we were in previously. I'm not totally clear, but either way, we've got an evil pope. We've got a possibly head of the knights or something, or or some kind of hero or heroine rather. I like her character design a lot. That's cool. Her armor. We didn't really get a fantastic look at it. She didn't get a big hero shot or anything. Ooh, the Emperor is kind of weird. Because there's these people in masks who seem to be speaking for the ruler. And the ruler looks a bit corpse-like there. Have we got a Warhammer 40k situation where the Emperor is actually... Yeah, it seems like there's something weird going on there. I'll definitely put a picture up of that because that looks odd. Got some more crazy eyes. They're quite fond of that. They've used that twice now. Yeah, the head knight lady. I like her. Like her character design. Oh, okay. I wonder because the following scene, we've got her and the younger girl who has pointy elf ears and horns. I don't know if that's horns or if that's a hair ornament of some kind. But I'm now wondering, are they a paladin cleric pairing? Might be. It would be kind of cool. I mean, you can... So like the paladin cleric thing, right? If the paladins are all men and the clerics are all women, right? You can use that to say interesting things. It's fine. I'm not going to complain about it if that's the case. Much. But it is a bit kind of like, yeah, of course, the men are doing the fighting and the women are, converted into a kind of commodity in order to facilitate that. And you're like, fine, okay. Go with that if we want. But if that's not necessarily the case, I would be quite pleased because that would be a bit of extra variety and be bucking something that's a very conventional use of that system, that magic system, would be to have a straight gender split. And if we could have a female paladin and a female cleric, that'd be kind of interesting. It either breaks up the potential for it being necessarily a romantic thing, or it means it is, and there's a whole kind of Yuri angle there, or but it would be kind of more interesting if it didn't necessarily have to be that, because you would have a bit more question with R2 at the very end when they pair up as well. These two might be sisters. Oh, no, probably not sisters, because the elf here, she's probably a different species of some kind. So, but yeah, I wonder actually now with this interaction, I bet they're a paladin cleric pairing as well. That would make a lot of sense, and her being the head paladin for the Empire, the most powerful warrior. Because in as much she is wearing armor, like you can see it's like a solid piece on her shoulders. So I assume she's a fighter, and she's got a kind of fighter look to her. Yeah, we've got the giant pig again. They kill the giant pig. They go and celebrate, and the weird strung out noble tries to recruit Jiro. Again, we've got guns, but only a few guns. And they didn't take the guns to go fight the monster. The guns seem to be restricted to the maybe the elite guards on the castle. So we've got guns, but we don't have many guns. Are they? It's kind of hard to say what, because they've got weird, they look like blunderbusses or something. So it's hard to say whether these are like very archaic firearms that they've just maybe invented or reinvented, and they're like blunderbusses, or if these are more relics of a past pre-apocalyptic sci-fi thing, and they're like laser guns or something, and there's only a few of them because there's only a few of them left and they don't know how to make them anymore. That's also possible, but we didn't actually see any of them fired in this episode, so I don't know for sure, and we don't really get a particularly close look at them, I don't think, at any point. I mean, maybe we do at some point, but I'm not going to scan the entire episode just for that. Oh yeah, so some of the troops chasing her do have the guns, but she ends up getting engaged with the arrows once they rediscover her with the cat girl. And the cat merchant is very, yeah. Okay, so I actually did manage to find a frame there where we get a better look at the guns. And they look kind of sci-fi to me, actually. Those look like sci-fi guns. I'll have a picture up of this. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because the magazine on it maybe looks like it might actually be some kind of canister with a flared barrel. You wonder if they like shoot like fire or a liquid or something rather than bullets. But most of them have these longbows. Again, we've got one gun and two longbows in that little squad, so maybe like the squad leader gets the gun and then everyone else has to settle for bows, or they've got different roles. Then we have another monster come in, which is a cool design, kind of a standard thing. I think that might be a Japanese traditional thing where you've got like the big kind of humanoid monster but doesn't have a head. I think that's something I've seen in, I think that's maybe a Japanese folkloric thing, because I've seen that in a few places. But yeah, that's kind of cool. The pig was a cool design earlier on as well. She gets, and this whole sequence was really cool, where she's cornered by the port, and she's got hit with arrows. There's a couple of weird moments here where I think this was maybe a slight error, where she turns around, she's got a couple of arrows on her back, but I don't think she had those in the wide shot. It was a bit strange. There were actually a couple of things through this episode. I did really like it, but there were a couple of things in the editing of it that were a bit strange. There were a couple of fades to where they were intercutting the battle with the pig with her wearing the ring. I was like, why are you doing that? Why are you showing me this now? I guess it was to illustrate their kind of, that they had a potential bond between Jiro and 22, but like, it was weird, and there's something kind of weird about the arrow scene here. I'm not entirely sure. It's also a bit unclear whether the arrows were doing. I think this is all her power, but it was a bit unclear as to whether the arrows were like magical and they were doing something to her, or she was doing something to them in the moment. But it's fine anyway. But other than that, yeah, and then the arrows. No. Other than that, it's a really cool sequence because wow, she turns those two guys to dust. That is that's pretty brutal. And yeah, that's cool. That's cool when she does the turn. I'll cut in that sequence for sure. When she does the turn to the camera as the glow starts, and she's like desperately reaching out to them to try and get them to run. She's clearly got, or it seems to me anyway, that in the same way the character, the cleric from the opening had ice powers, maybe her element is fire. Yeah, she's reaching out to them. That was cool. And then Jiro's spear, because the katana on the guy in the opening seemed to be some kind of special weapon as well. Jiro's spear seems to be linked into this bond somehow. And yeah, and he's living on the airship as well, or the spaceship or whatever it is. We do briefly see the inside of that as well, but I don't think it really tells us very much. No. But yeah, he's living on that, and we've got he comes out, sees what's going on, and then he sees her powering up for whatever's about to happen, and he has a flashback to presumably the end of his career as a paladin, previous career as a paladin, when, based on what we're seeing here, you assume that his old partner died in this battle in the snow somewhere against this kind of mast. Yeah, got a shot of her on the ground with the blood. And what looks like a pretty kind of romantic thing as well, like maybe they were a pair as well. And she has horns, that's interesting. I haven't really yeah, because it was the girl with the elf ears and the horns with the emperor, or the emperor, what I assume is the emperor's top paladin. We don't see this girl's ears, but I wonder if she's something similar, because it looked like she maybe had horns as well, that younger girl. So clearly he's been traumatized. Toka. That's maybe his previous. Oh, yeah, this was an interesting line. The bereavement curse at work, implying that flashback is maybe more than just some kind of PTSD thing. It's actually some kind of aspect of his broken bond is still with him. Because that was interesting, because that reminded me in the moment, because I remember mentioning it, it reminded me of Wheel of Time. The bond between what are the mages called in Wheel of Time again? Aes Sedai. There we go. I thought I was going to have to look that up. Aes Sedai. The bond between Aes Sedai and their warden, which is obviously not the same thing, because there's not that kind of transference of power. It's basically just a mage and their bodyguard in that universe. But in that universe, you've got the mages and you've got their warrior bodyguards. I'm not going to go into spoilers or anything. You've got the mages and their warrior bodyguards, but there is a kind of magical bond between them as well, so that the bodyguard always knows where the mage is, and they've got kind of some degree of shared senses, and there's a degree of kind of it's like a complex magical bond. But basically, if one of the pair dies, although it's more significant if the mage dies, but if either of them dies, then the severed connection is like has some weird after effects as well. Other than just losing your partner, whatever form that actual relationship takes between the two, which can vary through that series. But other than just the loss, it actually has kind of magical side effects as well. That really reminds me of, or this really reminded me of that. So that was cool. So I wonder if, because he jumps in really quickly to do this. Oh, and the monster's coming through the wall as well. I actually kind of missed that while I was thinking about this, I guess. But It's actually already through. So he knows. Okay, so I think maybe he senses that the monster's coming through and knows he needs to do this in order to kill it, maybe, but... So I don't know quite what was going to happen to her. It looked like there was going to be some kind of explosion or, you know, that something bad was going to happen, but he grabs her, takes her into the water. Oh, there was a really cool moment when he was doing the jump as well, where he deflected a load of arrows with the metal guards on his forearms. That was cool. That was really cool. Bit Wonder Woman, actually, I suppose, but the way it was done was very cool. And he summons the spear as well, so we've got magical weapons that are linked. I find magic systems fascinating. Okay, I'm rambling a little bit about this. It may have gone a little bit long-winded, but I find magic systems fascinating. And this I like this. This is crunchy and interesting, and it's got lots of aspects to it because we've got the pairing. We've got a magic weapon involved as well, because the guy in the opening had the sword. And he's got the spear, and that seems to be linked into this operation here. And this is nice as well. I like this in the moment, because once they get underwater and he's kind of forging this new contract with her, or this bond with her, whatever it is, this partnership, the way he does it is a kiss on the forehead. And I like that because a whole lot of other anime would have gone for the kiss on the lips, right? They would have made it a weird fan service moment, and it would have just I mean, okay, fine. There's maybe some ways you could have that be what you're doing and also make it work, but there's a lot of low rent anime that would have made a really lazy fan service thing out of that, and they would have had the like kiss and the blush, and then next episode they would have made a whole big deal out of the I mean, if you've seen any anime at all, you know exactly what I'm talking about, the sequence of events that would have spilled out of that, and they didn't do that here, and I really like that. I really like that. I really enjoy it when an anime breaks any of those kind of situations that feel very, very conventional and very tropey in terms of stuff that you see a lot in anime. So that's yeah, I like that. That's sweet. And a subversion of what I expected, because actually the moment they were descending into the water, because we've got that kind of I'll bring that up there, but the moment they started descending into the water and they were face to face, I thought they were going to go for that. I was like, yeah, okay, cool, we're going to do this, and then goes for the kiss in the forehead, and that's yeah, I love that. That's so nice. And then they get this moment kind of suspended in this strange sort of mental space where they introduce themselves to each other. Yeah, and they don't go into any details yet, but he summons the spear. Just want to see exactly what the sequence of events here is. Okay, so we don't really see the details of how exactly this goes down. We just have the cat merchant singing happy birthday to herself and being very sus. Okay, yeah. And then we go straight into the to be continued and the nice kind of relaxing ED, which is just her walking off into space. Interesting view of the sunrise coming around the planet. Again, makes me wonder. I don't know if I'm just kind of folding everything into the same theory, but it makes me wonder about the sci-fi thing. Again, and if maybe we're going to get like into space at some point. I think that's a stretch. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but if it does, then I will still claim to have called it in this first episode. But yeah. Ooh, yeah. There is a large truck reversing outside. I hope that's not coming through the mic, but anyway. Yeah, that was cool. A load of really interesting stuff. I know I overused that word, but it was interesting. Fascinating. We can say fascinating instead. But fascinating world building. Like I said, right, ages and ages ago, I won't retread the same point ad nauseum, but there are kind of the two possibilities, whether this is just a grab bag of stuff they thought was cool or whether it's actually leading towards something interesting. Either way, I think it works. I hope there's some kind of grand overarching thing. I hope I'm right about the post-apocalyptic thing, although I am so sure that I am. I'm going to be surprised if that's not the case. Not necessarily disappointed, but I will be surprised if that doesn't come into play later on. Yeah, that was cool. I was surprised by that. That was a lot more interesting than I had kind of thought it was. Admittedly, again, I didn't really know much about it going in, but I hadn't really heard any buzz about this. Although, again, it's an anime original, for one thing, and anime original, and it's a studio that hasn't really done anything before. No, that's a little unfair. They've been going for a while. They made a few shows, but nothing that I recognized at all, and it looked like a lot of adaptations of like weird slice of life manga and sort of niche stuff. Nothing I recognized in terms of names. So I guess based on the studio having no particular pedigree for doing, big interesting things, and it being an anime original with no source material type up, it's a recipe for something being a real sleeper for the season. So I hadn't heard much about it at all in the way of buzz or in the way of details, but that was cool. Lots to think about, lots to talk about as well, which is nice. I'm pleased about that. We've got something that we can really dig into over the coming episodes, because I am going to watch this to the end. This is the kind of thing where anime originals, you never know what's going to happen, and as with any story, it's difficult to end stories, right? It's difficult to follow through on big ideas. It's very easy to start things and very difficult to finish them. So this could go absolutely off a cliff, like episode 7, 8, 9. I don't know how many episodes it's going to have. Let's just quickly have a look at that. Beasts of Ars episode count. Are we a single core or are we? No, I don't want to look at a list of Beast Wars episodes. Giant Beasts of Ars. See if my enemy list knows. 12 episodes, 1 core. Okay. Makes sense for an anime original. They wouldn't be likely to take a big risk on going 24 episodes, not these days anyway, on something with no source material. So 12 episodes, like anime original, could go completely off a cliff. Episode 8 or 9 to a bad conclusion, especially if they're trying to fit a complete story into 12 episodes, because in a world that seems this complex, that could be a recipe for disaster. And of course, with an untested property, a studio that seems relatively small, or at least not with a huge reputation, it seems like they probably wouldn't want to take a huge risk on making a 12-episode anime where the story operates on the assumption that it's going to get a sequel, because you might not, and you might be left with it being incomplete. But strong first episode, very strong world building. I like the characters, although admittedly that was a very rough sketch in this first one. We didn't really get into a lot of we didn't really get a lot past our very basic motivations, where 22 is sheltered, naive, innocent, hungry, and Jiro is depressed, alcoholic, bereaved warrior guy. And then we had a suspicious cat merchant, strung out prince, and the imperial stuff, where we only got a very short glimpse of that. So we don't have a lot of character stuff yet, but then it is only episode 1, and they had to do all that setup and world building and a bit of exposition. Actually, no, not a lot of exposition. That was good, now that I think about it. Because a lot of the stuff that I worked out about the power system, or at least I think I've worked out, assuming I'm right about a lot of that. No, there wasn't really a lot of exposition. That was mostly picked up through. They showed that rather than told it. That's It's a good sign. But they still had to do a lot of showing that. Like the opening was a bit disconnected, just to give you a kind of demonstration on how the cleric paladin thing works. So you knew what was going to happen. So you knew what was happening at the end. Yeah, so maybe a lack of character focus, some slightly strange editing things, but otherwise very strong, very strong. Cool. Oh, love a good anime original. So good. Yes. Okay. Right. So this has run very long. We're at over an hour, which is slightly scary. I'm going to be trying to edit this down a little bit, so it's a little bit shorter than that. I would like to try and get most of these videos in under an hour, but we'll see. So I will wrap this up for now. I will cease my rambling about magic systems and world building, even though I'm very enthusiastic about those things, and we will, yeah, leave it there. So this was. I managed to stop making jokes about the name. I'll give myself a pat on the back for that. I kind of completely forgot. The episode was so good that I forgot to keep making stupid jokes about Ars Beasts. But this was Giant. this was See, the problem is the way my camera is orientated with my second screen with OBS. I have to look at myself while I'm trying to say this, and it's like looking at my own expression, trying to. Okay, I'm not going to look at the camera and doing this. That was Giant Beasts of Ars, episode 1. I've been Asteroidia. This has been that anime with that name, and I will see you in the next episode. And I'll try and get this joke out of my system before then. Sorry. Bye.